Good morning, folks.
Good morning.
Hey.
Morning.
We'll get started in the next couple of minutes, folks. Sorry to have this started late. We had some technical issues getting into the building of the office here.
Can you turn off your mic? You're sipping coffee too loud.
దానికి తీసుకోవచ్చు that's even better.
I couldn't find words there, and then I went to my desktop. I did it, and then I called the guy, faced the case, so I was looking for something. Why find me Microsoft Office like that?
Yeah, it's not free.
No. It wasn't. He said, oh, it must have expired. I bought that laptop for like 6 years, for 10 years. That expired without using it. Today,
if you're going to use it, then you should be able to.
All right, folks. So let's get started. So yesterday, I think I did give an assignment. I'm not sure how many of you are able to.
I attempted off the right. I think I did started from the beginning.
Is it yours? No. Okay. Simple basic things. When you're writing these titles, please make sure that you're using capitalizing the appropriate places. Right? This is the noun, right? Select. Right. You can basically, instead of writing this all again, what you can do is displace against the column name, right? You can just say displace the first name followed by the last name with a space in between, right? So so rather than just making it redundant again, right? Because see, the thing is, I agree that you have a name here, but okay, so you have written it again. That's fine. This is okay, but you don't have to write it, right? So you basically will continue. And if there are any rules and regulations, like what we said was, by default, the table is sorted by the name, right? By the from A to Z, right? Alphabetically. So you can also, if there are multiple rules, then you can basically organize it here, right? Sorted by name column. A to Z.
Subhash, we can't see the notes.
Oh, you cannot see the notes? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I cannot.
Okay. So sorted by the first name, right? First name and A to Z. I just picked up one of the notes and just reviewing it. Button is the U here. So please make sure that you spell check. One of the first very, very basic things that you need to remember before you send it to anybody, make sure that you are spell check. This is a basic thing that you have to follow. You cannot miss that. Okay.
in the sense of someone looked like it right. It was like stuff that they have good with the user of the PHP, this use case. That's the solution thing. So that was a lot of want to see.
This is good. This is good. See, here P is small and here P is capital. Right? See, these are
sometimes like you say after that's the first one.
Yeah. So the thing is, right, whenever you're documenting, make sure your documentation is consistent. So these are, minute things that cannot go wrong. Okay. Anybody else posted?
I think.
Where is it?
I think the whole school it's the same one like
Let's see what Sarah has got here.
I read reading.
Subhash?
Yeah.
That I have the updated version. I found out some mistakes on that one. I have
This one?
Yep, that's the one. You can just control click the last topic on my table of contents and it will take you to the.
Oh, okay. I think you created this template on your own, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, so this is interesting. I think we need to talk about this. Okay, so you tell me, explain me by looking at this. How do you so question to you, Sarah, is what are you trying to convey through this statement? Can you explain?
On the screen that you showed yesterday, it showed page 36 showing off 36 to 70 something showing off 415, right? So
yeah, this is one, right?
So that means right now the internal user is in the second page, maybe, and then there are like 415 more clients on the on the other pages.
No, but whatever you wrote here, I'm not able to see. The thing is, if you give this sentence statement to a programmer or anybody, I don't think they'll be able to follow what you have written here.
Okay.
Okay. So basically, you're telling them that you're asking them to hard code this. That's what it says, right? The message reads as follows. So are you telling them to just put this message everywhere?
Oh no.
Okay.
Oh,
where did you deep dive and where did you write what the whole story was?
Sorry, I didn't get you.
No, where did you document the whole process? I mean, what you wanted to explain?
You see, right after the.
This doesn't show me.
Sorry?
Yeah, I've scrolled down to the last, but this doesn't show me anything about.
I am not getting you. I didn't get what you.
Okay. So you wrote a statement here, right?
Uh-huh.
You wrote a statement here.
Uh-huh.
It displays this message, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So what are you expecting the programmer to do by writing this statement?
Oh.
What is the expectation? What are you trying to communicate to the technical team or anybody through this statement?
I was trying to say to search for a result of like maybe A or maybe like X. If
Okay.
the person is searching for X in the previous page,
Right.
you should show that those clients starting or that includes X.
Okay.
And then you should also show which page the clients were in. I mean, which page the internal user is in.
Perfect. Your intention is 100% right, but that is not evident on what you have documented.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
I see.
So anybody can pitch in and help us. So basically, this is the requirement.
Subhash, if you look at mine, I think I have done what you said we're supposed to do. I think it's underneath. If you go down the page, it's a PDF.
Can I, right?
Yes. No, that's not me. That's not me. That's not me. That's not me.
I think that was mine.
Which one?
It's a PDF document, and
Yeah, that's the one. Your Ganesh, right? Or Rohel? Okay.
yeah, mine right here.
Okay, this is the one.
Oh, there you go. Yes. In step 3, I did what you just said.
Yeah. So basically, this is what I was asking for. Search results for XYZ showing A to B of C. So basically, yeah, it's going to dynamically display the search results for XYZ. Here, XYZ represents the search made by the user in the previous page, and A represents the first number of search results. No, I think this is kind of confusing. What do you mean by first number of search results?
So the very, like, for instance, A could be 20 of 35, and
Okay.
the 20 would be the first result.
C represents the total number of, it's not search characters, no, this is incorrect. C represents the total number of relevant
Search
results
results.
that match the search criteria. You know what, okay, let me put this here for you. First, system displays the message search results for X, Y, Z showing A to G of Z. If you give me a minute, you will know what I'm talking about. XYZ refers to the search performed by the internal user on the search page or previous page, right? Yes, the search page or previous page, right? Okay, then Z refers to the total number of records that match the search result or that are relevant to the search result. Okay. A and G refer to the range of the search result that is currently being displayed to the internal user. Okay, A and G, A comma refer to the range of the search result that is currently being displayed to the internal user. So what I mean is, and also I can put a note here. It has to be noted that each page can display, what is the maximum number of records each page can display? 35, right? Display a maximum of 35 records, and if the record, if the number of search results, if the number of records exceed 35, system displays the navigation buttons that enable the internal user to navigate across the results. And of course, we can basically talk about the buttons already in the bottom, the previous and next buttons.
I see where you're going.
Sorry?
I see where you're going. I got it.
Why is it A to G? Like, why did you put like A to G?
Because
Like
A to G is, I just took an example. A to G is the range of records. The range cannot be A and B. It's not a range, it's only one record. Right? Just to give you an example, I just took A and G. This means that there are 5 records, right? Sorry, 7 records.
Yeah. Okay, that's the range that it's covering. Okay.
Right. Okay. So if you want, I can put this in the chat window.
And you can edit it.
Alex?
If it is a large document, and then if you need to include the range after, say, G also, then like while documenting, you need to just add point below this or make the separate
I did not understand.
in this we put the search criteria from A to G.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
That is just an example. An example which is telling the users, the developers, that this is the range. Okay? And the range is always going to be the same. The range is always going to be 30, maximum of 30. And the results can be 400 or 500 or it could be more. See one second. Yeah. Any questions on this?
I don't have any question, but can you just go back to my document? I just want to confirm a couple of things.
Sure.
Because I was confused when I was doing it yesterday.
Yeah. Where do you have questions?
I can't see video. Okay. Okay. So you see, under 4, I actually specified the width of the spacing between each of the columns.
Okay.
Well, was that a correct way to do it? Because I counted each space between the words as a character as well. I actually counted.
Sure. See, it could be even more. We cannot hard code this. We cannot say that it. I mean, there may be regulations, but if this is the business rule, that's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, this is right. This is okay. I mean, you don't have to say it must be visible. All must be visible.
No, the reason I was saying that all must be visible because sometimes if the text is very long, like when you're typing on Excel, it will suppress whatever you type in the rest, and just it will show you whatever is possibly visible in a single cell, and then you move to the next cell, and then it's completely disappeared and it's kind of cut off.
Right. Right. I think I get what you're saying. I think what he's trying to express is if the string is long, you don't want to chop it up. Is what he's saying. Sometimes what happens is when you are implementing this kind of applications, and when the text is too big, they chop it up, and when you mouse over, the text is displayed as a tooltip sometimes. But basically, he's elaborating and making it clear that it has to be displayed, on the screen, irrespective of how long it is.
And also, I went a little crazy with the capitalization rule, and I specified whether I want any of the letters to be capitalized. The way I worded it sounded weird to me, so.
No,
I thought that the changing font was the design team. No, I thought it was already kind of predefined in terms of the capitalism, all the font size and stuff like that.
Okay. See, the data that is coming here into these cells, right? We are basically pasting this data on the screen, right? So when the data is being actually pasted on the screen, the technology team is not going to make any changes on the data because they're going to fetch this data from the data. So whatever data is in the database, I'm going to just dump it. I'm not going to write any, do any massaging on the data before I paste it.
Okay.
Whatever your name is, however your name is reflecting in the system, I'm going to show it to you. I'm not going to make any changes. So what you're telling them here is to make sure that, even if there is a small letter like this, you're asking them to make it capitalization. And they would definitely deny it. They would not do it because it's a lot of effort.
Okay.
And it's not required. All right. It's not required.
Yeah, it was weird when I was doing it. It was a bit weird, and I was like, I'm not sure if that's.
No, that's fine.
I did it anyway, but.
We got it clear. No worries. Okay.
Subhash.
Yeah.
Could you check my work as well?
Okay. Only one more. Janice, right?
It says assignment user interface interaction. Moses Harris.
Okay.
I mean, it's not that much descriptive. Bare minimum.
This is okay. but did not write the text actually. Did not write the text on the table.
I'm sorry?
Did not write the description of the text that we spoke about.
Yeah. But I just made a mention that it shows the search results and displays the counts. You know, you see that at the bottom of select with ID.
Right. And also, please make sure that you're capitalizing wherever you have to focus, please.
Mm-hmm.
No, nothing.
Okay.
System forms right. By select, it's not selecting. You're not selecting it. You're clicking on the link. User ID is a link, right? So by clicking on the user ID link, system navigates the active to the next pick. And also the navigation buttons. We did not talk about the navigation buttons. So there is a logic for displaying this navigation button, right? On page load, the first time when the page loads, let's say if there are 300 records, on the very first page, you're going to only see next button. You won't see previous, right? So when you click next on the second page, if there are more than 35 records, then you will see previous and next. And on the last page, you will only see previous one. So I think these are all things that you have to document. You have to document the logic. There's no shortcuts. No shortcuts, no assumptions.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'll definitely review the rest of the assignments probably by end of the day today or tomorrow, and I'll definitely give the feedback. No worries. But what I want to do right now is, assuming that all of you understand the how to document a BID and FRD, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you an assignment right now in the class. I'm going to give you a situation. Okay. So here, let's go to. Are you able to see this? Let me make it bigger. Okay. Okay. So here we have one action here, Authenticate Client. Okay. One of the actions that is available to the internal users. So basically, this is as you know, this is basically a internal servicing application used by the administrator in the bank to help the customer. So the customer is on the phone, and I search for the client. Then I need to authenticate him. I need to know whether the client is the right person or not. Okay. So this is one of the action available for the internal user in order to authenticate the client. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you. I'm going to act as a subject matter expert. Okay. And you have to ask. I'm going to give you a requirement. I'm going to tell you what I'm expecting from a business perspective. And what I want you to do is I want you to document the business requirements and functional requirements for authentication. Okay. I'm not going to show you any screen. Okay. Now I'm not going to show you any screens because this is how it works in the real time. Real time, you will not have any screens, right? So the first time we did it the easy way. Now we'll do it the traditional way. All right. So so Authenticate Client. So as soon as the internal user is searching and selecting a client, before he proceeds with the next steps, he should be able to verify that this person, whoever he is talking to on the phone, is the right guy. Right? So Authenticate Client is one of the features that should be available to the internal user. And this option should basically allow the internal user to challenge the customer with 3 authentication questions. Okay? And the authentication is considered as success if at least one of the questions are answered correctly, and it is considered let us say, the client is not able to answer any one question, at least one question. Then the internal user should be able to challenge the customer with another 3 set of questions. Okay, and he should be able to also submit, and he should be able to see the answers. Okay, and out of these 4 to 6 questions, at least the first set will be the first 3. If none of them are right, then he will again look at the next 3. And if none of them are right, then he's going to just stop and say, I cannot help you. You basically go to the local banking center. If at least one is correct, then he'll basically finish off with it. He'll just mark it as success. So this
quick question, Subhash.
This is
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so
Okay.
This is the end-to-end business process that need to be automated. And for this process, I want you to document the BRD and FRD. And also, now you may have several questions. Okay, go ahead. Shoot.
My question is, I don't know, kind of missed. You said even if one of the question is incorrect from the set of the first 3 questions, they need to answer another 3 questions. Let me repeat what I said. The authentication is considered successful if at least one question is answered correctly. If at least one question.
Yeah, and let us say, if he is answering the first question correctly, then the authentication is success. This process is over. That's
Subhash, can I ask a question?
Yeah.
The 3 questions or the 6 questions, are they limited? Are they specific questions that your company wants, or can they be based on the database that we have? How do you want those 6 questions? Which 6 questions would you like?
Correct. So I think that's a good question. The question, in other words, is where are these questions coming? Right? I mean, how are we challenging the client with these questions? So so when the client is logging into his application for the very first time, he will be selecting these questions, six security questions and answers by himself. So the client profile is tied up with those 6 questions and answers. And the internal user will be asking, or he will be able to ask only those 6 questions, nothing other than that.
What are the questions? What are the essential criteria for these points or verification points, and do we have choices to give to the customer, or the customer provides the?
I'm not understanding what you say.
You're asking if you have any other questions that you could ask them. Usually the client, the one that chooses the 6 questions, and that's the application, is like data personal questions like where were you born, and you got to answer these. The client's the one that chooses the question. No,
we are not choosing the. Okay, so in the process of challenging. So if your question is how are we posing these questions? I mean, out of the 6, any 3 of them are randomly, posted to the client. So
what are
these questions? It's like, what is your pet name? What is your mother's maiden name? The client is not giving them. Why is the client giving them?
the user asking something.
Okay, let me rephrase what I said again. These 6 questions that the internal user is asking the customer on the phone, these questions were selected by the client themselves when they were registering and logging in for the very first time. So I have a user ID password. I log in first time. I have to select 6 questions. There may be 10. I select 6 questions, answers, and I move on. So my profile is tied up to those 6 question answers. Now ask me what.
My question was, the questions themselves, so the business stakeholders have, I mean, we have to have common process for everybody. They're not only like one client is getting what is your pet name and one client is getting.
Could be anything random. The requirement is that we are going to challenge him.
Not going to give 100 questions as a set, like a pool.
The total set of questions during the registration process is 10 questions, out of which 6 were selected by the client. Yeah, it's not going to be like 100 questions. It's going to be 10 questions, and the customer has selected 6 out of it.
It's usually like first information sheet. You have no case other than what you know, like why you can't lie and
yeah. Right. Yeah, you had a question. Go ahead.
Actually, somebody on the phone actually. Okay. So, these 10 questions are standardized by the internal user.
By the bank.
By the bank. So, what will be the questions? What information should we have from the client?
I mean, you can basically take.
Customers?
You can take any. We can assume any 6 questions. Like as I said, what is your pet name? What is your mother's maiden name? Any 6 questions.
No, I'm asking this from writing down the document.
Mm-hmm.
Like we need to document 10 or 6 questions.
Why are we talking about 10 questions here?
Are you trying to write the questions down?
You are going to only worry about 6 questions, right?
6 questions.
Right. Just put any of those questions. But just say Q1, Q2, Q3. Don't worry about what the question is.
You want us to do it right now?
But I want to just make sure that all the questions, if you have any questions, I'll answer it.
Subhash, I have a question. So those 10 security features are like what we normally have to do, what we normally fit in when we log in a bank. Like what is your security? What is your first 4 digits of your social security number, etc., etc. Is like that.
Something like that. You know,
and do we have
like what is your pet name, or what is your what is your favorite holiday destination? What is your favorite cuisine? Anything.
Oh, okay. So if the customer so when the internal user clicks the Authenticate Client link, it's like it asks the customer. So the what is it called? The internal user asks these questions to verify the customer whether or not they are really the customer, right?
Correct. See, if I have to visualize, I mean, I would basically be based on whatever I gave you. The moment I click on the link, it should show a page which has 3 questions, and it should. Okay, and also the requirement is that it should not display the answer on page load. Okay, so let's give the internal user an option to enter the 3 answers and submit. And once you submit, then it will show what is the correct answer and what is the answer given by the customer. Folks, can you mute yourself if you are not talking, please? A lot of static noise. Thank you. Yes.
Provides the first 3 questions, right? The client got to answer all 3 at one time, or he got to answer one question.
All 3. He'll ask all the 3 questions. He'll get all the 3 answers. Then he'll submit. Once he submits, then he'll see the system will show what the client answered and what is actually in the system. It's a comparison. At least one has to be correct. Now the system itself will not say this is right or wrong, because what happens is the internal user may mistype it. That doesn't mean that it's incorrect answer. Right? End of the day, it is the internal user's discretion whether if he is comfortable, then he can basically pass it. If he is not comfortable, he can fail. Anybody else? Any questions?
Yeah, Subhash, one more question. So we have to follow the same format.
Yeah. Let's take step by step. Let's go ahead and document the BRD first. I'm going to give you 10 minutes. 10 minutes is more than enough for you to document this. It shouldn't take more than 10 minutes. Yeah, go ahead. he wants to appear here. Coordinate document to be added.
Done.
Hello?
All right, can I go over it? What I wrote?
Because they are the only person with the that is a different set of them.
All right.
Wait.
Yeah, 1 second. Hold on.
I have something if you want to look at an example. Moses goes.
Let's hold on for 1 more minute, two more minutes, folks, and then we can get started on this. Let's give a couple of minutes for the people to write. All right, let's get started. So what is the introduction part?
User should be able to authenticate the client after verification of the answer from the
Introduction.
Internal authenticate
to authenticate the
action of
client.
authenticate client on authenticate.
Okay. Anybody on the line? I think someone was trying to give a statement.
Is the internal user for internal user to channel the customer to authenticate the client link?
Okay.
It should be able to board you gotta verify that they client can act for it. But you don't have to say people verify first.
So can I say internal users should be able to authenticate the client before processing or proceeding with any of these services? Right? No. Should be able to authenticate the client before proceeding or processing any of the services. This is the starting point. This is the introduction. Yeah, this is the introduction point, right?
We can also put it as internal user should be able to verify the client before processing any.
Yeah. More right.
Thank you.
All right. Now, to start with, now let's go step by step, right? Okay. So, what is the next step? What is the first step? So, basically, the process is internal users should be able to authenticate the client by challenging him with a random set of security questions, right? Is that the right statement, folks? So, these are random because see there are 6 questions, and out of those 6, I'm only posing 3 questions. I'm randomly selecting 3 out of the 6.
Random question registered by
the client. So I'll say internal user should be able to authenticate the client by challenging with a random set of 3 security.
Can we say 40 out of the 6 security questions?
3 security questions. Okay.
actually choose some that you have I'm doing that, more time to find out what the fifth question is. For example, wait.
Okay, questions? Sorry? Okay, so what's the next one? Go ahead.
The client is able to answer the set of questions provided by the internal user. Internal user should be able to provide the other set of 3 questions selected by the client.
Okay, first of all, what you said is right, but before we talk about the next set of 3 questions, we have to determine the success or failure criteria, right? Okay, so how do we determine the success or failure criteria? Can anybody give a requirement, a statement?
I can say something. I don't know.
Yeah.
System processes the answers entered and grants authentication if and only if at least one answer submitted by the internal user from the first 3 questions on the screen matches with the answers of the external user when he or she registered for the account online.
Okay, that is good, but I'll make it even easy.
What do we say? One of the 3 questions, or you said 3 first? Yeah. Then
no. See, I don't want to say 3 because there are total 6 questions.
Total 6 questions. So we should have mentioned it as ACB or 2.0. You provided only 3.
We'll get there. We'll get there in a minute. I know what you're talking about. It probably may sound a little bit confusing, but the moment I write the second requirement, I think all your questions will be clear. Okay? The goal is to make it as simple as we can.
So now the process.
See, in step 3.0, I'm defining the success criteria. It is success if at least one are answered. Now it could be 1 of 3 or 1 of 6. If he has answered 1 out of 3, then the 4th or 5th or 6th question will not even come into picture. Right? Like that?
Like we should have put a note like this. Like
what note do you think is required?
So because if you're asking me,
you start read all the 4 requirements and tell me what is missing, and if you think anything is confusing, we'll address.
What I'm saying is, let's say you ask me, what if you ask me, okay, what is your mother's middle name, what is your place, and what is your pet name? Okay, but I answered a 4th question which I remembered, which is my favorite kind of food. It's still the right question, but you haven't, the internal user hasn't asked me the question.
Correct.
So, but here you're saying 6 questions, so it is part of the 6 questions, but the internal user will not be able to see the answer because he's only concerned with the.
So basically, the first That's why we are saying that on the first attempt, we are only going to ask him 3 questions. First set of 3 questions.
I think we should.
All 3. If at least 1 is right, then authentication is success over. That is, if none of the 3 are right, then I will go to the next set of 3 questions.
I think we should write that.
Like, overall, from a process perspective, I cannot say that okay, he should answer 1 of 3 correctly. No, that is incorrect. That is an incorrect requirement. If you look at the broader picture, right, it has to be 1 out of 6. It's not 1 out of 3. If I say 1 out of 3, that is an incorrect requirement. The documentation is correct because the requirement says that at least 1 out of 6 should be correct. Then it is success.
In point 2, if we write internal user should be able to authenticate the client by challenging them with a random set of 3 questions. Out of the questions, after the question, without noting, out of the question, answered by the client during registration process.
What you said is right. What you said is right. But here, with the requirement that I have written in 2.0 along with the note, I think it explains what you just said.
In that case, like we could write that the internal user will first pose 3 questions. If the client is not able to answer those 3 questions, then in the next point, the internal user will pose another 3 questions.
See, the thing is, right, you can basically write it in any way that you want, as long as I said, this is one way of documenting. I'm not saying that this is the only way to write. No, you're right. See, as long as you're able to communicate the information, I'm fine with it. You write it in any way that you want. Okay, so basically your question is, do we have to tell the developer that about the case sensitivity? Yes, we have to tell them, because what happens is here, we are not judging any cases. So we have to, we'll document it as part of the functional requirement. This is a very, very high level requirement. We'll get to the functional requirements in the next few minutes. Okay. Now, if the authentication fails for the first attempt, then the internal user will challenge with the next set of questions, right? And the authentication, if the client's authentication is success, the internal user will be able to proceed to the service request, right? With the client service request. And the authentication fails on the second attempt. The internal user will request the client to approach the nearest, the closest banking center for assistance.
Subhash, I had a question. It's nothing to do with the process, but like, you know how we always type in the internal user, internal user, internal user. Is there any shortcuts that you can use? Like in the very initial time when you describe an initial internal user, can you put in parentheses I, capital U, capital I, capital U, and throughout the process, is that considered not good, or are you allowed to do that? Because I feel like I waste a lot of. Sorry, I'm sorry. Say that again.
You are allowed to do it, but unless until I think internal user typing it should not be a challenge unless until it is like a huge abbreviation which has like more than 4 to 5 words. You are reusing it, but I think client internal users, these are terms you should be able to type easily.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So, do you think requirements make sense? Right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So now, based on whatever I just documented, are you able to visualize the screens? Are you able to connect the screens? It is second attempt because first time I'm going to ask 3 questions. He is not able to answer. And in the second attempt, I'm going to ask the remaining 3. And he is not able to answer, then I don't have anything else that I can variate. Okay? Yeah, folks on the line. So the question is, are you able to visualize the screens based on whatever I documented?
Yes.
Yes, kind of.
Tell me,
sort of.
tell me how can anybody? Okay, let's ask Ganesh. So Ganesh or Rohel, any of you. So tell me, how do you? What is that you visualize on the first screen when the user clicks this Authenticate Client link? So what are you looking at?
The first thing will be the username. The second thing will be the.
Hold on, wait. So when you say username, so name of the user who was selected.
Yes, I mean the client's name. The client's name. My bad.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
The next thing would be the first 3 security questions are as follows. Question 1, the answer. Question 2, the answer. Question 3, the answer.
Okay, so when you say answer, what is it? What do you mean by answer?
Oh, sorry. Okay, what I meant was question 1 will be written, and there'll be a text box to put in the answer. Question 2 will be written. There'll be a text box for that. Question 3 will be written. There'll be a text box for that. And then I'm confused as to, do I want it in 1 page or do I want it in 2 pages? Because then I can have a submit button where the computer validates it, or sorry, the database validates. So,
right, on page load, you will have 3 questions first time, right? So you'll have only 3 and with the button. Okay, so let's try to match what we have and see whether your visualization is correct or not. Okay?
oh, okay.
You're right. You're right. Is it right? So, the ID selected was this ID, Authenticate, and I think your visualization was absolutely right. So this is how you visualize, you come up with the screen, and of course, so in this case, Ganesh did not say that, okay, there should be a correct answer option displayed. So these recommendations will be prompted by the business vendor. They will come back and they may say, okay, just put some correct answer and just mark it. So here, one difference between what Ganesh said and what we have here is the correct answer option is displayed, but it is marked. We are not showing it to the internal user on page load, right? We are suppressing it. Okay. Now what happens is the internal user will enter all the answers, and as soon as he submits, then it will go to the next screen. So Ganesh, what do you think will happen in the next screen?
The next screen would. The next screen would be something like that says the user has been authenticated, or it would. Or it would say, sorry, as the next no. Oh,
it will,
no. Wait, you sir, take a pause and think for a minute. Okay, let me ask anybody else. Anybody else?
I think it would what it would do is that like after he submits, if it's incorrect, it will direct him to the next set of 3 questions.
But hold on, how do I know whether it is correct or incorrect? So don't you think there is one more screen in between?
Yeah, it would show us if it's authenticated. If it fails, it will set us the next set of 3 questions.
But how do I know which question has failed? What happened? But can you?
I want to. Because if the client says the wrong answer, then it will show in the client your answer with the red button that is incorrect. And then the client, the answer is, if he correct the answer, then it will show in the green color.
Okay. So okay, you know what? I think what I'm not getting from all of you is, don't you think the internal user should see the correct answer? And when should that happen?
Actually, no.
Yes, it's able to see, but that answer should be able to see by the client too. That's why.
Okay, let me take you to the next page.
Once you type it, you get the forward. You can either get error that it's not
But what if it's not the right person? Why do you want to show him the answers?
Hold on. Wait. Look at this now. So this is the screen showed to the user, internal user, on click of submit user authentication button. Take a look at it for a minute. Yeah.
Oh, so this is the example of the answer.
So here, your answer is the answer provided by the user on the phone. The answer entered, the same answer entered in the text box. Okay, and the correct answer is the answer in the system. So here, technically, what you're saying is, this is what the user has provided, and this is actually the answer in the system. So the user should be able to see what the user has answered versus what is actually in the system. Because I should be able to compare and see, right?
But my question is, what if it's not the right person?
What do you mean it's not the right person?
Like suppose it's not what a Deepak test, it's probably somebody else. Is it right to show somebody else information to someone else?
Okay, so basically what you're saying is that it is inappropriate to show the client's information to the internal user. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
No, but if I have to see, the internal user is working in the bank on behalf of the bank. Right? He is basically he is part of the bank. He's not an outsider. I mean, technically, all your information will be displayed, and again, of course, there will be discretion on what can be displayed and what cannot be displayed based on the level of based on the type of the user who is assisting you. But they should have access to your information, at least the bare minimum set of information, if they have to help you.
Okay.
And also, I think your point is right. What we also did is we had a tracking mechanism. Okay, in addition to what we implemented, right? The moment he clicks this submit authenticate button, we are seeing the screen, right? So what we also did in the back end is we asked the programmer, the technology team, to see on a daily basis how many internal users clicking this submit button, because when they click submit button, we know they are seeing the answer. So we are actually on a daily basis, we are generating a report and we are publishing it to the business. And on a daily basis, we are going to see how many answers these guys have seen, because there is, yes, based on what you said, there is a potential possibility that this may be misused, right? So we are also generating, because we don't want the internal users to just go ahead and search for some random client and then select the client and just authenticate, click the authenticate for no reason. When they're doing it, the report, whatever their activity they're performing on the system, it is being generated. A report is being generated and sent to the system. Yeah, whatever you do on the screen, the moment you submit success or you click the submit authentication, it is basically triggering a report and it's sending it to the business. The business on the top level will know, which internal user has seen what information, whether he actually needed that information or not, because it's a call center. All the calls are recorded, and he should be only searching for a client, when the client calls, so they can compare the calls. They can go to any level of detailed audit and then they can figure out whether somebody is fooling around or not. Yeah.
Okay.
Like my assumption was that when you click, it should give the question answer and there should be like a checkbox, right or wrong.
And if I'm not going to challenge what your assumption, but from a system standpoint of view, you can basically implement it in any way you want. But here, what the right thing to do here was, the moment you submit, show what the user has answered versus what is in the system. Let him take a quick look at it, and if he feels this is correct, then he's going to click success. Right? Now here, this is junk data, so don't worry about the data here. So assuming that this is incorrect, the authentication is not right, then we'll say failure, try again. Right? So the moment we click the failure, try again, see on click of success, I'll say success, done. Right? Yeah, if it is misspelled, we don't want. See, let us say your what do you call let us say your favorite teacher, right? Your favorite teacher is John Samuel. Let us say. So I just wrote John Samuel, or instead of John Samuel, I just wrote John Samuel. That doesn't mean that it's wrong, right? So we still want the internal user to decide and judge, and then because as a customer, when I call you and when I'm giving you information and you're telling me that it's incorrect, I'm going to be mad at you just because one word is incorrect, spelled incorrectly. You cannot say that it's incorrect, right? So the internal user can review it and he can override, and he can say at any point the internal user can override. That's the reason if you have this success and failure button, he can still override, and at the end of the day, we are giving the internal user the information, and it's up to his discretion to whether to make it success or fail. But whatever he is doing, everything is right.
Subhash, may I ask a question?
Yeah, good.
All of these criteria that you are listing right now, and whatever other people are saying, it's basically you're following the business requirements. If they want it this certain way, you're providing them that certain way. Whether it is right or not, or the way you presented it, that's the only thing matters, that the business understand. Okay, that's what I needed to know. Thank you.
Yeah, I think Sarah was asking a question. Sarah, go ahead.
I just want to know, like, on the previous page, it showed the correct answer with, yeah, that one, right? I don't see the use of the correct answer label and the text box there. I mean, it's not seen by anyone, right?
It basically is an indication that he is not able to see it, but we are telling him that he can see it once he submits. That's the business rule.
Okay, and then below on the next page, okay. Oh, okay. You answered my question.
No.
I was about to ask if the internal user was to decide if it's a success or a failure, and then you already answered it. So
right.
That's why okay. Thank you.
Okay. If it is failed, the authentication failed for the first time, then in authentication side, again another 3 set of questions. Then you submit. After you submit, then So the second time it could be success, or you submit it as failure. There is no retry, right? The first time you had a retry option. Second time there is no retry. You just say failure, it stops.
When say the time blocking, is that considered an error message? Or
This is an error message. This is an error message.
Even the let's say the material the user was right. After second attempt, she shouldn't be able to go back.
They can override. They should, as I said, right? The system is built in. It's a call center system. The users have been given the option to override. Okay, so I think I'm assuming that you are clear on what to document here. So I would leave the final listing to you to document the functional requirements for this. And also, of course, I'm going to post the assignment in detail. What I want to do is for this Authenticate Client, I want you to document the functional requirements, the user interface, and also design the user interface. As I said, right, there are different UI markup tools like Augur and so on, right? So what I want you to do is to design the UI as well. I'm going to list out the tool and how to go about this. As I said, there is one tool called Augur. Let me go ahead. Just give me 1 second. Now if you see here, right, this is Augur website, AXURE. You can basically download a free trial version, and there are some videos here where you can easily. It's very, very simple. There is a 5 or 10 minute tutorial video. Go ahead and look at the video, and you will be able to start creating these claims for yourself. Then you just can download a free trial version. You see this? Download free trial. Okay. So I'm going to list out the details on the details of the assignment clearly on the plan. Okay. So just to avoid confusion, I'm making it very clear that you have to also document design the UI markups as well. Okay. Okay. I'll give you one more scenario, and again this is going to be an assignment. We are not going to do it here. So another option here is one more action, right? Let's go back to the action space. Okay. So now, you see this? These are the options we spoke about. Authenticate Client, right? So there is one more option, digital key maintenance. Okay. Okay. I know a lot of you will ask me what is a digital key. I'll show you what a digital key is. Okay. So this is basically called as a digital key. Okay. A digital key basically is a key which gives you random password. So in addition to your user ID password, if you have this tied up to your account, unless until you enter this password, you will not be able to log. It's an additional security. Okay. So from a client perspective, they might want an additional security for their account because these are high net worth clients, right? So if they want additional security, they should be able to call the bank, okay? And as part of the digital key maintenance process, they should call when the customer calls the bank, the internal user. The internal user should be able to submit a request for ordering a digital key on behalf of the customer. Repeat, a digital key maintenance is a feature that is available to the internal users, and with this feature, the internal user should be able to submit a request for a digital key on behalf of the customer. Okay, so this is the requirement. Now ask me a question.
Maintenance means
maintenance means basically orders. Maintenance means any and every activity related to the digital key. That's what it means.
Like what I have seen with the guys, they have seen every half an hour their password keeps changing. People who work in it. So maintenance means that their password should be continuously updated.
No. It has nothing to do with the password. Let me repeat what I just said. A digital key maintenance feature here allows the internal user to submit a request for ordering a digital key, or you should also be able to track the requests made by the customer in the past. There are two things. Digital key maintenance is used to submit a new request, or let us say there was a request made and it was never received. So the customer is calling and he's asking me, okay, you know what, I made a request 4 days back, I haven't received it. Right? It's not only ordering, you should also be able to see what were the requests made. Right. So here again, let me repeat. The objective of digital key maintenance is to allow the internal user to submit the request for a new digital key, process a new digital key. All he's going to do is take a request. It's a service request he's going to take. Or he can also see all the requests made by the customer in the past. The status or the history of the previous digital key requests made in the past.
So in this, we start after the client has been authenticated, or we start with the authentication process and then order the
That's a good question. The assumption is that the authentication is complete. So that is also one of the requirements, if you want to say. Right. That you can document as part of the business requirement. I wouldn't worry about how digital key is implemented, because that is out of scope for us. We have a vendor. We have a vendor who is implementing it, so that implementation is part of the another website. So this is the internal website. So whatever is happening here is the internal activity.
So Subhash,
now how does the digital key work, and how is the how does it process the password? That is out of context what we are talking about. Here the scope is limited to submitting a request. Yeah.
Yes, Subhash. So here the clients wants to order or request for a digital key, right? So we are providing him or her a digital key, right?
I'm not sure if I understand what you're saying. Come again?
So the client is requesting for a digital key. So we are providing him or her a digital key, right?
Right.
I mean digital key service to him.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So this is going to be the last process or last action?
I mean, this is basically just a sequence that they wanted to put.
Okay.
Subhash, you'll be posting all these details in your blog, right?
I'm sorry, what did you say?
You'll be posting all these details in your blog, right?
Yeah, I'll post all the details of what is the exercise on the blog. That's good.
Perfect, thanks.
Yeah, go ahead.
My question is, I know it has the digital key maintenance that's nice to do it, but can you give us like an example of a scenario that would happen in
The digital will be used. So what I will do is I'll basically log into I have an ID, right? I'll enter the ID, user ID. Quick login, I'll enter the password. Then it will prompt for entering the digital key token password. So it's a three-step. Yeah, it's a three-step process.
Perform the action of digital key maintenance.
We cannot track what the internal user is doing. I mean, you see, by authenticating it, then he is clicking it. So that is purely up to the internal user. He has to do the right thing.
So let's say the client forgot their password, and because there's a maximum number of tries that you get, right? And if you have that maximum number, it's off.
Correct.
So is that when you would necessarily kind of need to? No, I thought that.
You need the ID. You need the ID. You need the password. You need all these three to log in. That's why it's called as additional security. All right. Any questions on the assignment for you to go? So basically, you have to document the business requirements and all the functional requirements. I'm not sure if you guys are asking me questions. I don't see any good questions coming through on this. Yeah. We'll talk about the assignment, but if you have to document the BRD and FRD, what else questions do you have? What are the questions that you could think of?
I have another question. What I wanted to know in terms of the digital key maintenance, you have authenticated the client already because that's the assumption that we're going to go with. But for digital key maintenance as service request, is there any additional security measures we have to take or no?
No, nothing.
Okay.
All we do is just submit the request.
We also do we also write the profile of the people who are allowed to get this key?
Anybody, okay, if you're asking me who are the clients who are entitled, any client who is basically a CWS client can request for it. There is no distinction. Any client may, what I mean is here, any of the CWS.
It's a physical piece of equipment, right? But each of the equipment comes with a separate identity. So if I'm ordering a new one, the this number on the piece of equipment is, how will that identity? Am I supposed to?
That is out of scope for this. We don't have to worry about tracking that identification number on the piece.
The next time I have to do the same thing. I have to know the original ID number of that piece of equipment.
That will be tracked in others. So this is only for process. Any more questions? I don't think you guys are asking me some good questions. What do you want me to ask you about? I don't have any questions. You don't have any questions to ask? Sure. That means you are not thinking. You're not thinking. That's what it means. Yeah, you have to talk about, I mean, nobody's asking me, okay, what is the process, how do we order, where do we ship? All those are things you have to ask, guys. Nobody is asking all these details, which is in context. You are worried about how
shipping comes to my that's fine. Shipping came to my mind, but I didn't ask because you said we have to.
But that's not the scope for us, right?
The goal is basically to submit a request for order, right? Okay, you are calling me. Let's take a simple example, right? You are calling a bank and asking them to process and then send you a checkbook, right? So the first question, don't you think they'll ask you, okay, where do I ship it to? Yeah, right? I mean, yeah, if you are at the same address, do you want me to ship it to the same address, or are you going to give me a new address? Right? So these are, see, the thing is, you are forgetting the basics. These are the basic questions that I would expect you to ask.
And we asked about the, like, if the customer has an existing tenancy, do we ask about that, whether it has been lost or?
Yeah, because as I said, there is a history table which will display what if the customer has made any request in the past. Okay, I mean, there are three logical questions around this, like how many can he order at a time, right? And is there a shipping fee? These are the questions, logical questions that come around this process.
Can you change the address?
Can you change the address on the phone? Yes. So can you give it to a different shipping address? Yes. So
and payment process also.
Okay. So first of all, let's take step by step, right? Now you haven't asked me questions, so I have given you the hints. Let me give you some detailed requirements so that you can at least document it properly. Okay. Number one, shipping. There are two options. The digital key can be shipped to the client's existing address on the profile, or a different address. Okay. So the internal user should have the option to select the customer's address. So he should be able to see the address in the system. Okay. Or he should be able to submit, select a new address of shipping address option, and take the details of the. He can take the details and he can input in the system. The city.
One question to ask.
Yeah.
Before that, so if the customer is like old customer, he has already ordered something from that bank or some, let's say, from us, then we already have all the information, correct?
That information is displayed on the, that information should be displayed as part of the history.
Yeah, and then if a customer is new, then we have to create a new order to him, right?
Correct.
Asking him everything like from the beginning.
He has never ordered. That's what it means, right? He has never ordered.
Yeah.
I mean, the customer could be an old customer, but he just said he did not order. I'm going to just put a new order. Even if he has ordered it, let us say he must have lost it. So I can, but that request will be displayed, and the internal user will still be able to submit one more request. Okay.
And there will be the process of like how to make a payment and even some kind of discounts there.
It's free. Shipping is free, and then delivering is free.
Oh, okay. Yeah, got it.
There is no charge. There is no charge. These are high net worth clients. So when you are missing one of the criteria, then basically you are with the business. So they are going to help you. They'll prompt you with this information. But ideally you have to come up. So these are logical questions. There is no technology involved here, right? This is pure common sense. You have to think through it. But I know that you are not used to it, but you will get used to it eventually once you start getting into this. So the reason why I'm making you go through all this is to start thinking. You have to start thinking.
Transit process. So let's say the shipping time or turnaround time is 5 days. And while tracking the process, this guy sees the internal user that it's been about 5 days, but it still says in process. So would you be able to cancel the order and reorder?
No, you'll not be able to cancel the order. You can put one more.
Or you can straight away put one more.
Yes.
So that means if this was the order that's going to reach the customer, then he would get two. So which one would be the ideal one for him to use? The first one is
he can use any of them. No, there is no need to cancel. but again, that is out of the context for the scenario what we were talking about. But however, let us say if you use the first one that you got, then you're good. You don't have to activate the second one.
Oh, okay. So once he receives, he has to still activate it. Oh,
yeah.
right.
Whatever you have activated will be valid. Especially in US, it is not mandatory to have a digital token, but I think in Europe it's mandatory for all the customers to have a token. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions that you could think of?
I have a question. Does this system of digital key maintenance also have the availability to inform the client by a text message that their order is available, like how a lot of companies do that today?
Right.
This way they don't have to call you back again and again to find out the status?
Yeah, I think that's a good recommendation, but it's not required.
Okay.
But let us say if the business is saying, yes, we need it, then you have to also come up with the message. When is the message sent? What is the content of the message? What is the header? What is the subject? All that part of the message should also be documented in case if they're asking for it. Now you don't worry about it.
In this case of scenario, will the client, when he gets the key, will he have instructions and the code available, or he has to go back and register for the same and then get the code?
No,
like all these keys will have a code. So when he gets the physical key delivered to him, will that package have the instruction and the code?
I don't care what it has. That's all we are doing in this process is, it probably will have.
It's like a debit card. You know how you have a sticker on it, folks activate stuff.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to post these details. So basically we spoke about two scenarios here. I want you to, I'm going to post the details. I want you to come up with the BRD for this, then also the functional requirement and also the UI screen design. For authenticate. For the digital key maintenance, I want you to come up with the BRD, FRD, and the user interface screen. For both, pretty much, you haven't documented completely, right? So for both Authenticate Client and this process, I want you to come up. I'm going to post all the details on the blog. Don't worry about writing. Just telling you on the phone right now. Okay. So with this, basically, I'm assuming that all of you are clear on how to document a BRD and how to document an FRD. Any questions?
Subhash, I have a question.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to contact you again through email if we have any more questions at a later date?
No. I'm just kidding. You can reach out to me. You can send me an email. The best way to reach me is send an email.
And when is this assignment due?
I guess
Yeah, I'm sorry. What did you say?
When is this assignment due?
Next Saturday.
Next Saturday by 9 a.m.?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. Is there a format you want us to follow, or it could be anything?
I mean, you can basically download a template and you can start talking.
Okay, for BRD and FRD. Okay.
Correct.
Thanks.
Okay. All right. Let's take a quick 15-minute break. Let's exactly start at 11:20. Okay. So after this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what is a process flow diagram flow chart. Then we'll also kick off our testing concept as well. Okay. All right. 11:20, folks.
Hello? Anyone there?
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, Subhash. Yeah, this is me. So this BRD and FRD for this digital key maintenance has to be downloaded. It can be our own template, or we have to follow certain.
You download your own templates online and then
another thing is so if I understand correctly, the BRD is more of a abstract, higher level for business people, and we don't have to go that technical with the description of the BRD. On the FRD is like more of it, like you shown us the interface and the interaction procedures, right? So we go there step-by-step processes.
Correct.
Okay, that's what I want to understand, because I try to go through that steps for the UI user interface, but there were not that many details. You described mine, my previous work.
Right.
So could you give me like some good recommendation, like how could I make my work better?
I think you basically have to, as I said, right, you basically have to deep dive into the detail. So when I explain you how to create these markups, the description, if you see this was high level, this is a BRD. But if you see what I've written for a functional requirement, and I've basically broken down into very simple 3-step process: the entry criteria, then the UI user interface definition, and user interaction description. Did you attend the class yesterday?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Yes, I have. Yeah.
So basically, just follow this process, and I think you should be good.
And also, like, do I have to, like, for the functional requirements, like you said, like I have to visualize it, but do you want us to draw a diagram, or do you want to download the?
I'm going to post all the details on the blog about the assignment.
Okay, that's good.
But yes, I would want you to document the the UI markups as well. That's correct. I'll post everything in detail on the blog.
No problem, sir. Thank you. All right. Bye.
All right, folks. So let's get started. It's not the end of business network. We have got to cover. I normally try to switch gears because it kind of gets boring if I keep continuing the same thing, right? So I try to kind of make it interesting, and by switching gears, slow down whenever it is required, and speed up whenever it is needed. So the next part that we want to talk about is the process flow or the diagram or flow chart. Let me go ahead and share one of the flow charts that I have. Yeah, process flow diagram or flow chart. Okay. So far I think we spoke about use case diagram. Now here, what we are going to learn about is process flow or flow chart. So when you're documenting functional requirements, you normally also will come up with a process flow diagram. Right? A process flow diagram basically is a diagram which gives the start to end picture as of what is the process started. See, for instance, if I give this 20 or 30 page requirement document for any individual to read and understand the search and select the client option or feature, yeah, probably it'll take 1 or 2 days for them to read and understand. But before they read the entire document, right, it would be nice to have a satellite view of what I'm going to read, what I'm going to get in. Right. So this is a process flow diagram. In simple words, is kind of a trailer, of the actual picture. And to put it in simple words, right? So by looking at this diagram, I can understand where the process starts and where it's going to end. Now remember, process flow diagrams are always high level. You cannot, cram all the error messages and everything here, right? So a process flow diagram is going to kind of give a gist of where the process starts and what are the different activities that happen and where it ends. Right? So if you remember, we spoke about the search and select a client option. Right? Work with a client, as part of work with a client. The feature that we spoke yesterday was searching and selecting the client. Right? So what I did here is documented a flow chart to describe the whole process. Now there are some boxes. Don't worry about what those boxes say, but just for a quick minute, go ahead and try to understand the process from top to bottom. Go ahead and take a look at it. Each shape has a meaning. Yes, so we're going to talk about it in a second. This is account number. This is where it starts. Yeah, I'll scroll down. But are you done with this? User interface diagram is actually showing you the screen design. But here, this is showing the process. Entire process. So I can select a client process. Every symbol and shape here has a meaning. We'll talk about it. Okay, so let's start with, right? Internal user logs into the application. So here, if you see this, right, this symbol, now these symbols are predefined. Every symbol has a meaning. And again, we are going to use the UML modeling techniques, the UML modeling symbols. As you know, UML basically stands for Unified Modeling Language. And this is a universal language where all the shapes and symbols are predefined. So the shapes and symbols that we are using are based on UML. Okay, UML stands for Unified Modeling Language. This is basically a universal language which defines what are the shapes and symbols that you have to use for drawing a diagram. And every symbol and shape will have a predefined meaning. It's already predefined. When I'm using a symbol, it has a meaning. Okay. So to start with, this is kind of a semi-oval shape, right? A rectangle comes semi-oval shape. So this is the shape that is used when you are beginning a or ending a process. This is the shape that you would normally use. Okay, so to begin with, internal user logs into the application. Next, work with the client page is displayed by default. So as soon as I log in, I'm going to see the work with the client page. Now here, rectangle means process. A process in place. Some processing is happening. I repeat, a rectangle indicates process. Oval indicates the beginning or end of a process. Okay, so on this page, again, user is going to search, right? So this is also a rectangle. This is also a process. User is going to search by any of the options. Correct. Next part. Now the next thing is once he enters the criteria, he clicks the next button. He clicks the button.
I have a quick question, Subhash.
Yeah.
Before we move on. The UML for use case and the UML for process flow, they're different, right?
They are very different because use case diagram it talks about the actor, the the system boundary, the use cases. This is not a use case diagram. It's different. This is a process flow diagram.
This is just a process flow, like a logical steps which needs to happen in order to design a. Okay.
That's correct. See, use case diagram is high level, very high level. Maybe you can actually see if you consider searching for a client as a use case. Now this diagram, this process flow is actually detailing the entire flow of sequence of actions that will happen in searching and selecting a client. So for one use case, you can have a process flow diagram or flow chart.
Okay. That makes sense. Thanks.
Yeah. So user clicks the next button, and as soon as he clicks the next button, the system is going to validate what the user has entered. Right? Now here, this is a diamond symbol. Diamond indicates decision making. Okay. Always the result of diamond is true or false. Normally. Okay. So
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that? Can you repeat what the diamond indicates?
Diamond indicates decision making. There is a decision that is being made. Okay. So here user has entered ID or member ID, account number or name or banker name. Right? So here it is deciding what the user has entered. Let us say if the user has entered name or banker name, it's going to check the validity separately. The process is different. Okay. If the user has entered account number or the user ID, the validation is different. Okay. And if it is valid, if it is invalid, then there is no, right? It's not valid. Is member ID valid or account number valid? No, then it is you display error message, you go back to the default page. Here, if the name is invalid, then again, no, error message, go back to the default. If it is yes, in both the cases, what do? You go to if the criteria is correct, if the search criteria is correct, you display the search result. Whatever we did in the flow, exactly, so the search result will have the ID and all the information associated with the client, and you click on the ID. Once you click on the ID, if you remember, we discussed that depending on who the user is, the number of actions vary. Right? The number of actions, the privileges applicable to the user will vary on the type of the user. Right? So the moment I click the link, the system has to identify who I am, and based on who I am, the system is going to populate the relevant action. Right? So let us say is the regional admin. So he has like around 8 or 10 actions. Super user only 2 actions. Banker 5 actions. Help desk maybe less or more. So here, in this way, now you tell me, by taking a glance at this process from end to end, it makes it very easy for anybody to understand what the process is, and if they want more details, yes, they'll go read the descriptive format, and they'll go look at the designs. So this is kind of giving a high-level overview of the whole process. And this is part of your functional requirement. I don't understand what is coming.
What if it gives you a flow, right? Like okay, like at the beginning it says internal user log n, right? And then it tells you that after the user log expected result after the user log should be.
Yeah, this is what I've documented. You see this? After login, what happens next? It's all sequential, right?
Yeah. Is there like a flow and an expected result or something that you should expect?
The expected result is following in sequence, yes. Right? Okay.
But once it seems to be functionally happens, then we come up with one diagram doing the work.
Okay, depending on the business, what your business is expecting, what kind of diagrams they're asking you to do. So you basically have to understand what they want, whether they want multiple diagrams. I'll show you what I did. Let me go to the actions, right? So, yeah. So now if you see this actions, right? All these are actions, right? So what I did is, for each action, I came up with this flowchart. I'll show you the Authenticate Client so that you will see. I think you will be able to understand this. It looks complicated, but it's not. Go take a look at it. It's very simple. So now the select an action page. See, the search is complete. Assuming that user is on the action page, so the flow is starting on the action page for the Authenticate Client. Right? So go take a look at it. So for each, the thing is you cannot cram all the process in one diagram, right? So I broke it down, the whole complexity, into multiple functionalities, and then came up with the process flows.
This is especially helpful when you are working in a little bigger organization, and there's a top person who doesn't have much time. He just
it's anybody.
Yeah, and he says anybody. This looks fine. Let the SME take care.
Yeah. Anybody who wants to understand the process at high level, yeah, this is good. I would, if I'm documenting functional requirements, then I think I would always come up with. Yeah. See, you probably may not be doing everything in one project. So as I said, depending on what the expectations are, I have to go through the expectations and deliver and document it.
If you do everything that of time allotted to
yeah. I would assume.
Hey, I have a question. With every requirement, do you have to do like the use case or like a diagram? Do you have to do it with every requirement that you document?
That depends on the business. That depends on the client. The expectation is that you have to do it. You have to.
Okay. Thank you.
And also, as I said yesterday, before I start documenting any requirements, it could be BRD, FRD, or use case, whatever it is, right? First of all, you will get a template. Right? All I have to do is fill in the template, fill in the blank. But before I start doing it, what I would normally do is I would go back and look at the existing document, see what is acceptable and what is not acceptable. Because see, I may have the capability of doing something amazing, documenting something amazing, but they not like it. But when I know, okay, there is a standard process that they follow, this is what they want, all I have to do is just follow the pattern. Try not to do anything different. It may backfire. You can always ask them what kind of milestones do you want, how detailed they want. Do they want a diagram? It's not bad practice. It's good practice actually. It's good to ask questions. See, the thing is, right, it is good to know the expectations and then keep up to the expectations rather than just assuming something and and getting disappointed or disappointing anybody. I would always make sure that the expectations are set clear. Any task that you work on, right? So when I start documenting these documents, probably the subject matter expert or a lead BA, any little, or if I start looking at the current documents and when I know I've seen the markups and the diagrams and everything, there is no need to ask anybody. Go ahead and start documenting the diagram. Old documents. What is expected. You know what the style is. Follow the style. That's all. Never ever try to do something different. Yeah. Even if you do a good job, people may not like it. Yeah. It happened with one of our consultants. So this guy called me and asked me, "First, I need some help with this." So I went ahead and I wrote some very detailed, description of the requirements. Then the manager said, "I'm not. What did you write? Well, there is no need to write so much detail. We don't want this. Rewrite it in a high level." And like, what I told him, go ahead and, give him the garbage, whatever he's asked for, because it cannot be better than that. And he wants it in some way, and when he wants it documented in some way, just give what he wants. Yeah. And I don't think there is any point in trying to justify what you have done is right. Don't even try to do it. I'll let you get on here. So it goes through authentication, then tries again, failure or success. With failure, then it tries again, and again with failure, then this is the end of the process. You see this all because it's overlapping. Yeah. Grace login means that they probably don't have a password they want in case if they want it. Okay. So now, question is how would you draw these diagrams? Right? You can draw it using Word, MS Word, or you can also draw this using VG also. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you how to draw this using VG. Very, very simple. We have Visio here, but if you want to know where Visio is, it's part of your MS Office suite, Office, and Visio. Okay. Now here, so see this, we have a flow chart, right? Flow chart or process flow chart. This is basic. Very simple. Create. Now, see, all the shapes are already there. All you have to do is just drag them, and also you can read the meaning of each shape. You see this, right? Start or end. You see this? See, drag on the page to indicate the beginning or end of the program. Remember, I told you this symbol is used to indicate the start or end of a process, right? If you are processing any data, if you are entering, if the data is being processed or the data is being, submitted to some system, then you like for instance, let us say if you are submitting or if you are processing data from external system to our system. Wherever you want to capture the data, any information with respect to data, just go ahead and put. No. Let's say So now here, I want to expand this page. It will be bigger, and select this option and move it to the right. As I said, this is okay. So here we have process. See, there are so many symbols, but you may not use any of. I think it's most likely you will use the decision, process, content. I think, and the on-page off-page reference. You use on-page off-page reference. Let us say if the diagram is too big to fit in one page, so you'll basically put the reference here. Say you'll just put, and then you'll say, okay, this is continued in the next page. Yeah. At the end. Yeah, see next page, something like that. Continue in the next page. Right. So here, if you see here, now this is the standard symbol. I'm going to make it big. Okay. And by default, the colors are like blue. But if you want to change the colors, you can play around, right? Fill the colors, you can choose whatever colors. It's all. And if you have to edit or put text in this, double click. Any of the page, if you want to write anything, double click. I have never used these shapes, symbols. A database, yes, I have used, but just a custom symbol. Customized, there is no standard meaning for this shape. Could be, because I haven't used these symbols. On-page reference means within the same page, if you want to end it and you want to connect in some other way. And off-page is like, within a different. Which wizard are you talking about? I click the wizard. So if we go back to new, you basically flowchart. And again, depending on which version you are using, this may be different, right? So all you have to do is identify a flowchart. There is a flowchart here. I don't even have to click this. The flowchart here. See, all you have to do is just drag, drop, and it's going to align it accordingly. Correct.
And Srivas, how to draw a line in between?
Yeah, I'm getting there. You see this? There is a connector symbol here, right? You see this connector symbol here? Select and just join the class. That's all. Done. If I want the pointer back, go back. Right. Yeah. Let's go one more.
And what about overlapping symbol?
What do you mean by overlapping symbol? Yeah, I mean, if there is an overlap come, that's the dent will automatically come. You don't have to do anything. It's default. It comes by default. all you have to do is just go back, select the connector option. Yeah. And join this corner. That's it. That's simple. Okay. And also, let us say for some reason you may want a 2-direction arrow, right? All you have to do is select the arrow, and you have the properties here. You can define the type of the line, then all the right, the begin arrow, how it looks, end arrow, let us say if you wanted 2 directions. Yep. You can pretty much play around. End arrow type, let us say you want none. Let us say you want 2 directions. We already have in 1 direction, right? So start arrow, we want begin arrow. It's none here. Select. You see, you get 2 directions. So that's the beginning of the arrow, right? So the beginning of the arrow type initially was none. I selected 4. So let's say if I want to make it nothing, I just select none. Done. Very simple. You just have to play around. So decision making. I can format any shape. In I want to make it bigger. Select, and if I want to reposition. Yeah. It automatically sometimes it shapes. Then you have the processes here. See, it's aligning itself. You see this? Sometimes it kind of makes it annoying, but you just have to play around to find it, and you have to double click. So just play around with this, and I think this should be good. And once you are done documenting this, you know what to do, right? You have to basically get this diagram into your FRD, right? Word file. How would you do that? Control A, Control C, and Control C. Got it. Here. Right. Okay. Question? Any more questions on the flowchart book? Control C, Control A, Control C, and Control to paste it. Select all. Yeah. Okay. Anybody else have any questions on the flowchart book? In a flowchart, you don't draw documenting. See, the thing is, if you start putting everything in here, then it's going to be complicated. I wouldn't be able to understand. Okay. Just a positive flow. You know, wherever we can highlight, minimize the errors. And also, if you want to document this text outside, I think I forgot to show you. Let us say if I also have to put text here. Okay. Let us say if I have to write outside somewhere. So you see this text box. It's already selected, that's why it's basically showing. But let us say if I want to add text here. Yeah, and you can basically use put the color, you just play around. I would always recommend you to use light colors, because whenever you are showing it to the business, you have to use light colors, because light colors are pleasant to the eye. Use dark colors, people don't like. That's it. Okay. So with this, I think assuming that you are good with the BRD FRD concept. Now, let's take a quick direction change to testing. Okay. Testing. So, irrespective of the industry, irrespective of the type of the product, whether it is hardware, software, or any product that is manufactured, has to be subjected to testing, because we want to make sure that the product is meeting the standards and basically it's working as per the expectation. So, any product that you talk about, which before it's released to the market, before it basically reaches the customer, right, is subjected to test. You know, it could be any hardware devices that you may use, any applications that you may use, anything, right? And software testing is no different. Every software that is developed will have to go through testing. And what is the objective of testing? The objective of testing is to ensure that the product or the application is working as expected and it is meeting the expected standards, and there are no defects, there are no issues with the application, right? When it comes to testing, at a high level, there are two types of testing in the IT industry. When you talk about the software testing, there are two types. One is manual, and the other is automation. Okay. So now, as a business analyst, you will always be involved in manual. Okay. We are not worried about automation testing at all. Okay. Now, what is manual and what is automation? Okay. So before we talk about the types of testing, in order to test a product, software or hardware, anything, let's give a simple example. Let's say if I'm giving you this table, a computer table, right? And I'm asking you to test this table. What would you do?
Try to move it, try to see if it is stable, and try to look around if there are any defects.
So in your language, what is the defect? From the table perspective.
Defects can be the stability of the structure. Defect can be in the wood, which is like the basic material of the table, and it can be the size and like workability, like it could be at a proper height to use and proper like whatever our specifications are.
Okay. So you are not going to ask me any questions before you test.
So I asked questions
like what?
About what was the requirement given as per the material to be used, the size to be used,
right,
and the configuration of the
exactly.
table.
So this is what I was looking for. So in other words, if I'm asking you to test this table, the first question that you're going to ask me is, okay, give me the requirements based on which you have manufactured this table, right? Because if I have to test this table, I need to know what the requirements were based off which this table was manufactured. I should know what I'm testing in layman terms, right? So I should know, okay, what is the expected height of the table? What are the expected width of the table, the dimensions of the table? Because as part of the testing, in other words, I need to know the requirements, right? I need to know the requirements based off which this table was manufactured, right? What is the color? What is the color of the table? What is the maximum weight this table can withstand? What is the quality of the wood that has been used? So all these are requirement-related information that I need to know before I go ahead and start testing. So it is very, very critical that whoever is testing needs to understand the requirements before you start the testing. Okay. Now, while we're talking about testing here, I think a business analyst in the IT industry currently plays a very, very critical role in the testing process. Okay. Assuming that, let us say it's a 1-year project. Okay. How long do you think you will spend on gathering requirements? Probably 1 month, 2 months, 3 months tops. Let us say, assume that we are going to work on requirement gathering for 2 months in a 1-year project, right? Assuming that the project is scheduled for 1 year, you will be done with your requirements in the first 2 months. Okay. Now, what are you going to do after that? Of course, you will be involved in coordination with the development activities, but one of the primary role that you will be playing is in testing. A business analyst is playing a very, very important and critical role in testing. And these days, any interview that they talk about, testing is a must. Okay. And of course, when I say testing, it's manual testing. I'm going to talk about it though. You don't have to worry about learning any tools. But I strongly believe that see, when it comes to testing, there is a dedicated testing team, right, which is the QA, quality assurance software testing team. But I strongly believe that a business analyst is the best QA. See, remember, you have analyzed the requirements, you have documented the requirements, you know it, you basically have everything on your fingertips. Versus a QA or a tester who is reading what you have documented and he's actually validating whether the system is working as per the expectation or not based on what you have documented. So you will have very well knowledge than the QA, and you can be a very good QA. I mean, as a matter of fact, in all the projects where I've worked, I was basically, when I was testing, I was finding more defects than the QA team. Okay. Okay, so coming back to our process here. So coming to this software testing, in order to, as I said, in order to test the application or software, you have to have a very good understanding of the requirements, number one. And once you understand the requirements, then you will go ahead and start testing. Now, the testing could be either manual or automation. Okay. Now, what is manual testing and what is automation testing? So manual testing is the testing performed on the system or the application manually, as it says. Now, when you're performing this manual testing, the assumption is that you understand the requirements, number one, and you also have some strategy, some testing strategy, okay, with which you want to test the application. It's all you're doing is interacting with the application manually. And again, when you interact with the application manually, you have a plan in place as of what are you going to interact, what are you going to input, what are you going to expect. So all this is predefined. So you have some test plan, test cases, which we're going to talk about eventually. But you're going to play around with the application, you're going to eyeball the application, and with all the strategies that you have, you will interact and you will check and see whether it is working as per the expectation or not. You'll give some inputs, and and then you'll verify whether the system is giving you the expected output or not. Everything is done by human interaction with the system, and there are no tools involved.
For example, in that case of Authenticate user, like being a tester, there were fields like ID, name, etc. So being a tester, you try to put in a wrong name and see what the field will show the wrong ID.
Correct. Yeah. So that's the reason we have a positive test case, negative test. We'll get there too. Okay. But what you said is right.
But the testing is after the
right. All right. So that is manual testing. Now automation testing is testing the application.
You develop, you gave it to the developer, you develop it, but what do you do in between?
What does a BA do in between the development?
Yes. Because they're developing it, you just forwarded the file to them.
So once you have documented requirements, you basically have to get them reviewed with the business. You get them approved by the business. The next step is once you get the approval, then you set up meetings with the development team, give them the walkthrough, and you keep working with them and make sure that if they have any questions, you basically should be able to answer the questions. So when the development is in progress, your work levels will little easy. Easy, and see, if you are working on multiple projects, then you will be deployed on some other projects, so you will be juggling. There is always a scenario where you are handling multiple projects. You may be right. So you may be working on multiple projects at the same time. Yeah. You'll be busy. So coming back to our automation testing. Automation testing basically is to automate the whole testing process. Right. So in the process of this automation testing, there are different types of tools that you would normally use. So to start with, there are some very popular tools out in the industry. To start with is the QTP. QTP stands for Quick. Hold on. Quick Test Pro, and we have Selenium. Load. These are automation testing tools. There are so many other tools, hundreds of them. This could be proprietary. So QTP basically is one of the most popular tools. Okay. QTP is one of the most popular. Even Selenium is very popular these days. Now, when it comes to this whole process of automation, why do we need to automate this whole testing process, and why do we need to use these tools? Because these tools are very expensive. Yeah, because see, there are some situations where manual testing is practically impossible. Right? I'll take a simple example. See, Google launches new applications every now and then, right? They have the Google Maps, your Gmail, your Google Drive, right? So here, I think one of the features of Google applications is if you have one user ID password, you can use that ID password with all the applications, right? Am I right? Okay. So now let us say Google is launching some new application. Okay. Now as part of the testing, one of the cases that they have to test is, number one, they have to make sure that if a client is creating a new ID, he should be able to log in with that ID. That is one scenario into the new app, right? So for this new application testing that they have to do, there are two scenarios they have to test. Number one is, if I create a new account, I should be able to log in with that ID password. Number two, the existing client, 1 billion or 2 billion, whoever, whatever the number is, the existing 1 billion customers should also be able to log in into that application with their existing IDs and passwords. Right? These are the two cases that I have tested. Okay? So creating a new client and ID and logging in, probably 5 minutes job. Right? But how do I test and make sure that the 1 billion customers that I have are able to log in into the new product with their existing ID password? Right? So that is, it's practically impossible, right? First of all, I cannot access all these, I cannot test all these 1 billion ID passwords with the new product, right? The testing team cannot do it. You know? Number two, even if they're willing to do it, even if they have the bandwidth to do it, from a compliance perspective, you cannot share the ID password of a customer to a tester and ask them to test. That's not right. I mean, would you be comfortable if your bank is giving your ID password to some tester back sitting back in India and testing? No, I don't want anybody to access my account, no matter what it is, right? So, even from a compliance perspective, it is practically impossible to share the credentials of a customer from a security perspective, right? So here, in this scenario, I think the best option is automation testing, where, so for instance, tools like QTP. So for tools like QTP, what happens is there are QTP, these are automation experts, and so for instance, QTP, you will write a script, the automation testers will write a script called as Visual Basic. It's a script, it's a program, okay? They write this program, and for this program, the 1 billion user ID passwords are the input. So they quickly run and check whether all these ID passwords will be able to go through and log in into the application. Okay, now as a business analyst, I wouldn't worry about how QTP looks, how QTP works, how the scripting is done. That is something which I'm not worried about. So there are, even in testing, there are manual testers and automation testers, right? So a manual tester may not be an automation tester. Okay, so this is only for you to understand the process.
Let's say, the chips who have big tester, or they have.
They could, see, depending on the organization, they could have any tool. Yeah. I mean, again, these tools have a meaning. WinRunner, LoadRunner. We get there when we speak about the concept. But I think for now, all I want you to understand is what is testing all about, and to be precise, what is manual and what is automation. So I'm assuming that we are clear on those concepts so far. Okay. Now, the next important concept that you have to know is defect lifecycle. Folks on the line, are you there with me or not? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So the next most important concept that you need to understand is the defect lifecycle. Okay. So what is the objective of testing? The objective of testing is to make sure that it is working as expected, it is meeting the standards, and also to identify all the defects, right, or bugs, right? And first of all, what is a defect? Can you define?
It is when the process is not running.
What is a defect or a bug?
The process is not running.
An error. An error? a defect is any deviation from the requirement. I repeat, a defect, the definition of defect is any deviation from a requirement. See, if the application that you have developed is deviating from what it is supposed to be doing, then it is a defect. So for instance, you have a login page where you have to prompt the user to enter the user ID. Instead of saying it as labeling it as user ID, you're labeling it as username. Right? It's a deviation from what the expectation is. Mm-hmm.
Test that may have been avoided or that need not be part of the test product. And the business said, okay, this is a step I don't want in this product or something. The product is already developed, so the effective.
Okay.
This is something that you do not in.
Then the particular feature has to be descoped. Then you start testing again.
Start with use case again to remove that.
Yeah, if there is a change in the requirement, then the whole process will be impacted.
But something that I've seen from both my internship, because I noticed that developers seem to kind of get mad when testers find a defect.
That's true. That's true.
How do you go around it?
I don't give a damn.
Because I've seen testers getting screamed at from developers, and he like, dude, I was just doing my job.
I don't give a damn if they get mad. I don't give a damn if they get mad. See, the job of a QA team or a BA is basically to identify, as part of the testing, is to identify the defects and make sure everything is everybody's on the same page.
Right. Well, in other words, screamed at.
Yeah. All right. So coming to the defect life cycle, right? So from a process standpoint of view, what is the objective of testing? First of all, is to identify the defect, right? And also, it's not just identifying defect, right? We want to fix it, right? So when a defect is identified, right from step 1 until the defect is taken to a resolution, what are the different steps that happen? What are the different things that happen will be your defect life. A defect life cycle is going to talk about from the step 1 where the defect has been identified until the defect is taken to a proper resolution. So all the activities that happen in this process is defined under the defect life cycle. I'm going to talk about your questions will be answered in the next few minutes. So to start with, as soon as a defect is identified, you start testing as a DE or a QA or any individual, and you find a defect. Right? Now you're going to go ahead and report the defect. Right? So the status of the defect is open. Right? Open. So when you create a defect, when you identify a defect, the defect status is going to be open. All right. So once you open the defect, the assumption is that someone is assigned to it, right? You assign it to probably a developer or something, right? And as soon as they start working on the defect, you mean fixing the defect. They work on fixing the code or whatever, right? Assuming that it's a valid defect, then the defect status will no longer be open, it's in progress. So if the defect status is in progress, it means that someone is working on fixing the issue. Okay? Now once the developer basically has taken care of the issue, then what is the next status, what do you think? So from a developer perspective, what happened to the defect? Fixed. Fixed or resolved. Right? Fixed or resolved. Right? So from a developer perspective, you cannot close it. You're not closing it. See, you reported a defect to me, and I am fixing it, and I'm reporting back and telling you that, okay, I have taken care of it. Yeah. Okay, now what happens next? Now the next step is to test, right? So when you report back to me saying that when I see that the defect status is fixed or resolved, then as a QA, whoever has reported the defect is basically going to go back and is going to test the defect, retest it, right? And there are two possible outcomes of the testing, right? One is the testing can be success, right? And if the testing is success, what would you do with the defect? Close, right? Assuming that the testing is success, then the defect will be closed. And what is the testing phase? You reopen it. So now it goes back to reopen. Step one, right? So once it is reopened, then again it goes to the whole cycle, right? In progress, fixed, and close, or reopen. So what is the major difference between open and reopen? Open means it's a defect which has never been fixed. It has never been through the cycle. Reopen means it has been identified, it has been fixed, but the testing team has failed it, and it's still existing. And the reason why we have this differentiation is because from a management perspective, when they start looking at the defect list, and if there are more reopen issues, it's a concern, right? Because the development team is either the development is not fixing it properly, or the testing team is not doing the right job by giving some false reports. So whenever I used to work in the projects, and if there were more number of reopen defects, the managers were very keen and on identifying why this is reopened. I mean, we have given a fix, and they're asking that this is no good. This is rework for us, right? And the managers, basically my project manager used to emphasize that, okay, Subhash, I want to know why exactly this is reopening. Is it our fault, or are they not testing it properly? I need resolution. And also, see, if there is the development fault, we need to get hold of the developer, because the developer is not doing a good job. We should have fixed it on the first step. Right? First of all, we should not have defect. Number two, okay, fine, we had defect, but we need to take care of the defect, which we are not doing it. There is too much back and forth going on again and again, which is definitely not a good sign. Right? So typically, this is how the whole defect life cycle works. I have a couple of questions. Go ahead.
I have a question.
Okay.
Subhash, during this defect life cycle, do the manager give you a fixed period of time to resolve the issue?
Yeah, I mean, every defect will have an ETA. I think the next concept that I'm going to discuss next week is the attributes of a defect. So whenever you are documenting a defect, there is certain set of information that you have to associate with every defect, which I'm going to discuss in detail. And one of the attributes is the due date. That's correct.
Okay, and also
the project manager and the development team will together determine the due date. Yeah, go ahead.
And also, how will a BA communicate to developer through the manual process? Do they also have?
Yeah, so there are defect management tools like Jira. Okay, let me write it here. Irrespective of the type of the testing, right? See, the goal is to identify defect, right? So once the defect is identified, you have defect management tools like Jira, Quality Center, Bugzilla, etc. There are so many defect management tools. So this tool basically gives you an interface where you can create a defect and you can track the defect cycle. Now here, remember, this is not a testing tool. This is a defect management. These are defect management. These are not for testing. These are for managing your defects. I'm going to talk in detail about this once we finish the attributes of anything. Would that answer your question, Ganesh? Not sure that's you.
Yes.
Subhash?
Yeah.
After completing, or let's say the problem is fixed, and what is the next process?
Sorry? I didn't get
if
that.
The defect is fixed, if the defect is fixed, then what is the next step?
The next step is basically you shut down the computer, go home. Okay, so then the code is promoted to the the fifth production, the UAT and production account.
Okay.
Coordination activities are business analyst.
Chart. That's not the red chart.
Yeah, go ahead, Sayed.
Does defects have types, like process defect, like you said, username defects in a different language, then that's a defect. But then there is a process defect. For example, when you put in user ID and then it is defect. That's a defect too. So do they have different names?
They have categories. See, the defect, normally what happens is the defect, irrespective of the type of the defect, I think every defect will normally have a severity and priority associated with it. But I haven't really seen, again, it depends on how detailed you want to go, what kind of association you want to give with respect to defect. So for instance, you can say the defect is, it's a defect and it's a defect in the process because there is no process defined. We don't know what the requirement is. Somebody has raised a defect and it's a business process defect. So you can probably ask questions accordingly and then you can define. And again, how much level of information do I want to capture with the defect? That depends on the organization. But I think the next week when I'm going to talk about this defect attributes, I think you will know what information goes in defect and what are the different aspects. Yeah. But yes, I mean, to answer your question, you may have such kind of classifications also.
Yeah. And does these tools take that into consideration?
These tools are actually configured in such a way, they can be customized in such a way that they can cater to your process. So for example, when I'm documenting a defect in Jira, I can have for each defect I can probably capture 50 types of information or 40 types of information, like the defect number, the description, all these, right? These are the attributes which I'm going to discuss. But you can actually customize these tools to cater to your business process, to your organization needs. Yes. Yeah. I did? Okay.
The manual testing, is this the exhaustive definition that just getting on the system and checking the application, going through the motion is manual testing?
Correct. But here it's a lot more than that. You basically have to understand the test plan. You have to understand the test cases. So there are test cases and scenarios. So I'm not going to talk more. I'm not talking more about them because I did not discuss. But you have to have a test scenario. You have to have a strategy. Correct. Going through it and executing it. I will discuss it next week. Okay. Yeah.
All right. Customize, but I guess my question is there like a maximum number of defects that can be, like let's say that there are maximum of defects that should be detected, like
no, there is no limit. So when the testing team is testing, you cannot tell them that they don't report more than 100, right? So whatever they find, they're going to go ahead and report. Right? Yeah, somebody on the phone has a question. Go ahead. Anybody else has any questions, folks? All right, if you don't have any questions, then I think I'm done for the day. I'm going to post this notes on the blog. All right, if you don't have any questions, folks, then I'm going to sign off for the day. I'm going to post the assignments and the notes on the blog, and the assignments are due next week before you come to the class. Please upload them on the blog. And my humble request is don't delete any of the postings on the blog, please. Okay. If you have questions we still have questions with respect to uploading it. Please call my team and they'll be able to help. I saw a couple of you, at least one individual, deleting the assignments that I posted. Please don't do that. Okay.
Hello.
All right. Anything else, folks, before I wind up for the day?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Excuse me. I post my assignments to your email address. Did you get it?
I'm sorry. What did you say?
What's that?
I'm sorry. I'm not able to hear you. Come again, please.
I was saying I sent you my my assignments to your email address. Did you get it?
I probably may have gotten it, but normally I don't check my email for assignment. You need to post it on the blog.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks. All right. Thank you very much, folks. Happy Valentine's Day to everybody. Bye.
All right.
Hello?
Is everything good?